Welcome to Lesson 1 of MySci Unit 15, Observing Weather Patterns. In these lesson summary videos, we will explain the key concepts and the activities you will be doing with your students as you go through this unit. In Lesson 1, students will answer the question, what is a weather report? Students will obtain information from a variety of resources to explain the components of a weather report. They figure out that weather reports include temperature, wind, and precipitation. They also conclude that a weather report is different from a weather forecast. During this unit, students will focus on the design challenge, how can we design a levee or flood wall to reduce the impact of a flood? Students are going to design and build a levee or flood wall, test it using a simulated flood, and then refine their design based on how successfully it performed. Students determine how engineering can be used to design structures that can limit or reduce flood damage. Start by framing this unit for students. Tell them, this unit is all about the components of weather, how these components are measured in order to collect data and construct weather reports, the relationship between weather and climate, and weather-related hazards. Introduce them to the design challenge and get them thinking about how they can achieve this. You will also want to frame this unit for the students by introducing them to the unit phenomenon. Students will observe an image of flooding at highways 141 and 44 in St. Louis. They will consider this phenomenon and why St. Louis has been experiencing flooding in recent years. In the engage portion of this lesson, students will brainstorm their initial ideas about weather using a thinking map in their student journals. Students will record their responses to the questions, what is weather? Why is understanding the weather important? Students will then engage in a class discussion about their ideas. In the explore portion of this lesson, students will consider what a weather report is. Take a few students to come to the front of the class providing a weather report for the day. After each student, the rest of the class should ask questions or clarify aspects of the weather that is missing from their report. Next, students will analyze a variety of weather reports. Examples of resources to use can include the Weather Underground, the Weather Channel, and AccuWeather. You can provide students weather reports for the same day in different cities or for different days in the same city. Students should recognize the main components in each weather report, which would include temperature, wind, precipitation, air pressure, cloud cover, and humidity. Students will read Weather Forecasting by Gail Gibbons. Refer to the provided read-aloud guide found in the teacher pages of this unit. At this point, use this book to highlight the components of weather. Next, students will observe a weather report and forecast video for St. Louis. In the elaborate portion of this lesson, students will give weather reports in front of their peers using their learning about the components of a weather report. In the evaluate portion of this lesson, students will complete a formative assessment. Students will list at least 3 components of weather and explain today's weather report. By the end of this lesson, students will describe how the weather is a combination of several elements, including temperature, precipitation, and wind.